I believe that I am the best person for the job of President of the United States. My unique talents give me the ability to be assertive and diplomatic at the same time. I'm a person who will spike the conversation, who will get politics rolling and stimulate new questions and new answers to our current political dilemma facing our nation. I believe I have a keen understanding of the economy and how to improve where we're at relative to other nations around the world. I believe that our goal at America's Third Party was to create a very strong platform in which would propel the American people forward with new opportunities and a new possibility of creating a better nation, a cleaner environment, and less war. I believe that I am the best person for the job of President of the United States. My unique talents give me the ability to be assertive and diplomatic at the same time.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to America's Third Party, Part 2 of our Freedom Friday show. I am not quite always able to manage all the different animations and things that spin out, and sometimes the computer overworks. And when we have an abrupt ending to a show, that's usually what happens. I've managed to hit two buttons too fast, and boom. Computer locks up. XSplit restarts pretty fast, so we're really very thankful for that program. Okay, we're dealing with more issues with William Barr. Congress is clashing with the Justice Department over its decisions not to defend laws. Let's take a look at where this is at. And as you know, there's still pending contempt charge against William Barr for not presenting all of the 448 pages. And they're still wondering, where are the details here? Lawyers for the House of Representatives are pushing back on the Justice Department's decision to walk away from a statute barring female genital mutilation. And an unusual argument that lawmakers shouldn't intervene to defend the interests of Congress in the case. Apparently, lawmakers shouldn't intervene when it comes to female genital mutilation. I had no idea what I'm reading about here. But the fight is unfolding over the first federal criminal prosecution for female genital mutilation. Apparently this is going on in certain Sharia families. Yeah. Clitorectomies. Yeah, it's the equivalent of, castration, really, when you think about it. The fight is unfolding. So last year, a judge in Michigan threw out charges against several women who had had their daughters circumcised. The Justice Department notified Congress it would not appeal that decision because of constitutional considerations. Well, Solicitor General Noel Francisco wrote to Congress in April to say female genital mutilation should be universally condemned. But the DOJ had reluctantly determined it lacked a reasonable defense to the law following Supreme Court rulings in other cases. Wow, so Trump isn't really pushing to stop Sharia law. In stepped the Institution for Constitutional Advocacy and Protection at Georgetown University, which is working with Congress to mount a defense of the statute. The lawyers argued Congress has an interest in the enforcement and defense of the laws it has passed. And the ICAP lawyers were surprised, though, to face opposition from the Justice Department, which only once has opposed moves by the House and Senate to weigh in on legal disputes. It's deeply concerning to see the Justice Department abandoning its defense of this important federal law. All I can say is I think William Barr should step in and virtually make it apparent you cannot engage in clitorectomies or circumcisions of women. Yeah, I've never even heard of such a thing. But yeah, we need to stop the genital mutilation. It's got to stop. Well, many people are really pressing me for this foreskin issue that boys are dealing with, having their circumcision, male circumcisions. Leaving it up to the parents isn't enough for these people. They want really, to stop this activity. I will tell you this, though. I will research how dangerous it is and how many people are really being hurt. I mean, the poor boy up in Tree of Life Synagogue, the Pittsburgh synagogue that was allegedly attacked with a terrorist attack, killing allegedly 11 people. That was a place where Mordecai Rosenberg actually severed a boy's penis involved in a circumcision. And he's still practicing, too. So I think that we have to really look at what's going on. People like Rabbi Mordecai Rosenberg are not exactly the kind of people you want circumcising children. Hey, I'm hoping a very good night. Thank you, Add the One. Anyway, this is not the story I thought it was going to be, which kind of bums me out because I was hoping to see some progress on William Barr. But apparently Nancy Pelosi has put this entire impeachment hearing into the deep freeze by saying she just wants to arrest him and put him in jail. I want to prosecute him, but not actually impeach him. Which many Democrats have got to ask, why are you listening to this old woman? What are you doing? Why don't you listen to your conscience and say, yes, let's move toward impeachment? Heck, they impeached Bill Clinton in the House. What the hell's wrong with you people? This guy's had a couple of adulterous relationships that he won't even admit to. Definitely colluded with Russia 127 times. His team met with Russia 127 times. And obviously has been trying to stop everybody from investigating him. I mean, hello? That is collusion and obstruction, plain and simple. I mean, my gosh. Did you have to have it standing in front of you, you Democrats? What's wrong with you? Well, I don't care if Pelosi's in need of sex. That's not an issue. She should stand down and let somebody else step up. Frankly, at this point, I don't even care if they turn the entire, make Elizabeth Warren the Speaker of the House. And you know how I feel about her. At least she's in favor of impeachment. I'm all for Elizabeth Warren as Speaker. Let's move Nancy onto the pasture. What do you say? Okay, Venezuela refugees and migrants top 4 million people. Here they come. Pentagon warns Turkey it won't receive F-35s if it buys Russian missiles. Wow. Well, at least they're standing their ground. The State Department doesn't want to conflict. Turkey is playing both sides against the middle. They want to take it from Russia and from the U.S. Erdogan is not exactly a fool. He knows exactly how to butter his bread. And Turkey's trying to get both Russia and the U.S. weapons from both sides. I think Pentagon is right about this. We should stand firm on this. And frankly, F-35s aren't really that great anyway. We should keep them in our force. How can you mention pasture without cowbell? Okay, Max, good point. Glad to see you're okay, Max, because we were worried about you. You know, your friends online were visiting you. We didn't want you to disappear again and die for the third time.
And so now it's like heaven. I can go and eat. We go and eat. We go to the movies. We go wherever we want.
Yeah, we wouldn't want to we don't take anybody for granted here. You're doing somewhat better. That's good. Well, you know, one thing you have to always bear in mind, one foot ahead of the other. Take each baby step forward in getting better. My father had heart, I guess, 2 angioplasties and a stent installed in his heart. And he felt much better, but getting better slowly was what had to happen. Yeah, you can't push it. You have to go real slow. Sleep, the restorer, the great restorer. Sleep does amazing things for your body. Yeah. Erdogan told Putin that Turkey could occupy Russia in a week. Erdogan's a little bit above him. He's out of his own mind. He's kind of like Duterte. Duterte. Yes, they're both kind of bigger than their own bodies. Rodrigo Duterte actually said last week, the head of the Philippine government had said that he was gay, and he changed when he met his wife. I just think that's hilarious. Yeah. He actually admitted last week that he was gay. I thought that was a very good story. If you missed that story, I don't think he was even covered in the mainstream media. Let's look up Duterte. Yes, he was once gay, but he cured himself. A guy who looks like he's on heroin, talks like he's on heroin, acts like he's on heroin, is probably on heroin. No wonder he's getting rid of all the drug dealers. His one drug dealer says, you got to get rid of the competition if you want to get free heroin, Mr. Duterte. Yeah. Here he is. He said it in a speech.
Ingon sila nga daghang rape ang Davao. Basta daghang gwapa, daghang rape yun na.
If there are many beautiful women, there will be many rape cases as well, he says flippantly.
O na.
Will they agree at first? Will the woman agree? No, don't. No, don't.
Wa may unang nisugot anang kuan.
And nobody agrees at first. He's making light of rape, people. A man making light of rape and telling all these good Catholics in the Philippines that, hey, you know, women get raped all the time, you know. It's like, whatever. What kind of a leader is this? And he has an opponent who he claims is gay. He mocked his political opponent, Senator Antonio Trillanes IV, by saying his movements show he is homosexual. Duterte also reportedly confessed that he was gay before he met his ex-wife Elizabeth Zimmerman. Good thing Trillanes and I are similar, but I cured myself, Duterte said during a speech on Thursday. When I began a relationship with Zimmerman, I said, this is it. I became a man again. Wow. This guy is out of his gourd. No wonder heroin is doing such a good job with him. He is responding well to his drug therapy that he put himself on. Look at that. I mean, look at those eyes. The look of drug addiction is in my eyes tonight. The look of drug addiction. Da 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 da. Hey, so what's going on, man? Hey, you're looking pretty good. A little bit of sex and rape you what happens is okay. Wow. Rape is nothing to this guy. Killing people who sell marijuana in the streets of Manila is nothing to this guy. And he openly admits he's gay. Nice. We really have a real winner there in Mindanao. He wants to separate us from Mindanao, you know. Yeah, we have a permanent place there, but he doesn't like that. They are 86 Roman Catholic who do drugs and sell underage hookers to tourists, but bear in mind, he's training young Roman Catholic church girls, schoolgirls, to become assassins. Do you realize how damaging that is to a young lady who's been living her life in total sanctity, waiting for the right person, to become a veritable prostitute or look like a sweet girl and then hook up with a drug dealer and then learn how to blow his head off with a gun? He's training young Catholic schoolgirls to be trained killers. Yeah. How do you think they wrestle with that in their minds? That they blew a few drug dealers away. I'm sure there's a few of these young Catholic schoolgirls in Philippines that are actually have probably killed 15 to 20, 30 people. I'm serious. Like paid assassins that were good Catholic schoolgirls. And now they just shoot men in the head. And a lot of the men who are selling marijuana are they're not drug dealers. They're pursuing herb to help the people with the herb. Herbaceousness. So we have a possible tie replacement for my Freedom Friday show. I'm looking at a couple different options. This is a standard red stripe down the middle with stars. But I'm beginning to like this one, this Majestic Bald. Yeah. It's more of a print pattern though, but it has kind of a weird top. So I don't know, man. Maybe not. It's a Stephen Harris though. And that's the same kind I bought, so I'm trying to replace this one. This actually was given to me as a gift. I shouldn't say I bought it. But then again, I don't know if that person bought it either. Yeah. Okay, moving on. The chemtrail tie? Yeah, that's what I need, is a chemtrail tie. I wonder if there is one. Ooh, what a great idea. Yeah, maybe we should think of doing one of those, an actual chemtrail tie. Yeah, they don't have any at all, and there's got to be something we could. Oh, here's chemtrail accessories. You could be the smartest looking chemtrail pilot in the farce. Look at that, dropping those chemicals on top of your head. So apparently they do sell it. Introducing the chemtrail accessory, Zazzle. No. There's chemtrails bug me. Suit accessories, chemtrail bags. It's $30.90. Wow. That's kind of spiffy though. What do you think? Kind of nice, huh, Sister Pie? Hey, nice tie. Yeah, it's a chemtrail plane. They're dropping fumes on our head as we speak. You're a snappy dresser. It's an instant conversation piece at the parties. Is that a chemtrail tie? Wow, nice. I haven't seen one of those before. It's the chemtrail necktie. Oh, you got one too? Yeah, that's a little too loud. I like the subtlety of the chemtrail dropping on your head. You saw that image in the sky? Yeah, we all did. We were hosed with chemtrails where I live 2-3 days ago. I was absolutely inundated with chemtrail activity in my area. It was bad, man. Yeah, I was like the chemtrail cowboy kind of situation. I'd say about 7 or 8 in one day. And then now it's turned into overcast, rain, very unlike June in Washington. It normally dries up here. And we had some black helicopters over our house too. Did you have some of those? Yeah, I had a couple of Black Hawk helicopters. Very strange. I don't know what to make of all this stuff. But it's none of my business. I don't ask any questions. I just live underneath the vortex of evil on Earth. You see, these people don't care about all the people that have died in Arlington Cemetery. They don't care about the people that are, buried. We care, obviously. But the people that run the country they don't care about that. Trump, as you know, was a draft dodger. He had his father get a podiatrist to rig his feet to look like they were bone spurs. 5 times he got out of the Vietnam War. A lot of these graves are of men who your fathers, grandfathers, uncles, great uncles. Well, I mean, the fact that a draft dodger is threatening to bomb Iran is kind of funny, or attack any country. It's just hilarious the way these people are. They never fought a war, but they think that they can somehow, jump right in and attack. Bill Clinton was a draft dodger too, yeah. We've had a whole history of draft dodgers. And Barack Obama, where was he? Yeah, he never even, he never piped in on where he was during that time period. Was he in Honolulu or in Indonesia? Joe Biden never served, no. News, really? We have news? That's exciting. At least we have news. So yeah, this is a bummer, and Memorial Day doesn't end for me because of my parents. They fought in the war. They both could have died. Both my parents are Marines, so it means something to me when I see this and I see the flippant nature of our president starting wars around the world. It's crazy. Russia and U.S. warships almost collide to East China Sea. Yeah, we saw that. Yeah, we played that video for everybody just a few minutes ago. I know you must have missed it. Were you out having some lox and bagels? Yeah, here it is. The audio is still not coming in. But it's a pretty close, some come close to collision in the Western Pacific. And each one are blaming each other for the incident. They purposely put their headings at the same location, and then they just start aiming themselves toward it. We've got to develop some protocols. If only Donald Trump could have been on the phone with Vladimir. Oh, Vladimir, I know it's not a good time to call, but please don't show the sex tape. Oh, but could you tell your warship to leave our current destroyer is very close. No, please don't show the sex tape, no. Yeah, he could have really helped. Donald Trump could have been there. I think that all these collisions should go directly to the president on his cell phone. And just like when he's watching porn, which he watches all the time, it's like beep, beep, beep. Stormy Daniels in one corner and beep, beep, beep. Possible nuclear incident in the other corner, so that he has little reminders when he's, doing the dirty, doing the nasty with himself. Gosh, that sounds so weird. Can you imagine a president sitting there in the corner of the White House with probably a sheet over him and his little iPhone? Gosh, what has this country turned into? Trump has a cell phone, and the NSA are not listening. And I know, it's like a huge security breach. Everyone who thinks there's no Russian collusion just has to look up his cell phone records, and you'll probably see all these calls to Natasha and Nastya. And he's probably doing a one-on-one, pretending to be somebody I'm not. No, I know I sound like the president, but I'm really not. I'm just very, very horny. Yeah, Trump's cell phone. Wow. Too inconvenient, he said. And this is about a year ago. The story is relatively old. It's already in the freezer and getting dry rot. But too inconvenient. Trump goes rogue on the phone security. The president has kept features at risk for hacking and resisting efforts by staff to inspect the phones he uses for tweeting. Phones, not just one, folks. He uses different phones. Oh, could you hand me my porn phone, please? I didn't say that. Yes, the president, who relies on cell phones to reach his friends and millions of Twitter followers, has rebuffed staff efforts to strengthen security around his phone use, according to the administration. He uses at least 2 iPhones, according to one official. One capable only of making calls, the other equipped only with Twitter apps, preloaded with a handful of news sites, wink, wink, issued by the White House Information Technology and Porn Department. And we have proof that he does like porn, too. Yeah, I mean, what red-blooded American doesn't, right? Yeah. Don't blame him for his porn, Dave. He likes his porn, gol dang it. Let the man have his porn. Well, if we knew he was not making phone calls to Nastya, one of the hottest Russian mistresses to Deripaska, the renowned Russian oligarch that seized all the evidence she claimed she had of the Russians' involvement in our election, we wouldn't be sitting here with this measly Mueller report, which is a piece of crap, basically, half-assed attempt. He didn't even do the due diligence to get all the facts about Manafort and the dossier. I mean, he never even investigated Seth Rich. Mueller didn't. I mean, come on. Mueller's a joke, and he will testify if I get my wishes. Oh yeah, I'll basically call him out as committing felonies by not doing his due diligence as a special prosecutor. Our nation is at risk right now. He didn't produce a big enough dossier or any references to a serious amount of money laundering from Manafort. Okay, moving on. It's Mueller time. Hello, Sunstar. Good to have you in. Nice to be on a Friday night hanging out with my online friends. It's not easy to have a kind of a collectively separate life, but we're doing it. We're pulling it off. Very few people are able to communicate as well with a camera as I've become. You're like my friend, you know. I'm able to talk to you and tell you all my detailed secrets. And yeah, last night I was opening up about my family on our show, which was pretty interesting. It had an interesting conversation. But I don't normally do that. You know, I normally talk about the news and things that are happening. They're going to tear down Columbine because they believe that it's become a morbid fascination with the massacre. So the Columbine school has been, they're going to slate it for removal. Whoops. There I am. Whoopsie. Yeah, I don't really think there's going to be an effort to find out any information about the Columbine shooting from the existing school photos. I don't think there's a problem with that. So I think it's, you know, Sandy Hook they pulled down within a year. And right after, on the heels of the state of Connecticut coming out with the redacted report, which showed no blood evidence in the school at all. And then they ripped down the entire Sandy Hook elementary school, which is weird, really weird, very strange. We found out later that Sandy Hook elementary school was also apparently decommissioned prior to the shooting, which was weird. Why would they have a decommissioned shooting where people got killed? And there was no video footage of any kids being removed, evacuated from the school. That was strange too. Yeah, false flag stories or real stories, you know. With the lack of evidence, we come up with less of a story. So getting rid of Columbine means they're getting rid of whatever evidence they had of the original shooting. And you know, I never went out there myself to look for bullet fragments from the original shooting, you know. I personally never vetted these stories. Whoa. I just disappeared. Yeah. I got to come back and get a more credible picture of myself. There we go. I needed the fade. You have at least 20 new AI friends? Wow. That's weird. That's amazing. I wouldn't doubt it. I seriously wouldn't doubt there are AI people out there with fake faces talking to you as, you know, I'm getting tech help on one of my programs. And I don't know if this is a real person. Yeah. You know, I don't bitch and curse at all of you. There's only a few people that I get upset about, mostly Trump-tards and libtards. I've got a few libtards in here who refuse to acknowledge any conspiracies ever happened in the entire world. And I've got a bunch of Trump-tards in here who believe that, you know, Donald Trump is stopping the deep state, and they firmly believe it. That's the alt-right viewpoint. So those are the people I really criticize, not the average viewer in the show. I wouldn't doubt I have AI trolls, yeah. There's a popular rumor going around that I am AI. Clearly I'm not.
John Lennon was walking down a street on the west side of New York last night between 10 and 11 o'clock Eastern Time when he was shot down by an assailant. He is dead tonight in a senseless and terrible, terrible moment. The interview that you just saw, the portion of that interview, was first recorded here in New York at the NBC.
All right, that was, the Tomorrow Show. I guess I don't need to talk about it because it's yesterday. It's no longer tomorrow. I have a copy of myself in case I don't want to do the show. I could just bring my face in and take a break. Hello, how are you? Welcome. I am the real Dave. I am here to talk to you as your chat assistant. How may I help you? How may I help you? I am here. to help you. Right? I'm trying to match the face with the words, and it's not matching. Things are not correct. Warning, warning. You are about to enter the music zone of our show, where things start melding together, and everyone starts to say, wow, I've done this before. That's right. We do it every night.
Here we go again. Here we go again.
Been there, done that. There's nothing new to it. I felt this rush before. And as we have reached it, the peak of everything, we're falling like rocks when you decided to. Been there, done that. There's nothing new to it. I felt this rush before. And as we have reached it, the peak of everything, we're falling like rocks when you decided to. Been there, done that. There's nothing new to it. I felt this rush before. Woo, yeah!
Oh yeah.
So I've been piecing together some new music for just the ongoing theme. I downloaded that program I made Mr. Right on, and I just played with it on the other computer today. And, I piece together this stuff all the time. I just love it. Mr. Right Short is a new one I just made. It's a 30-second spot. 5G tie? Yeah. Here it is, yes. Here we go.
Gonna make you feel good, gonna make you feel good, 'cause you're Mr. Right. Oh, and if my feelings start to pressure you, it's alright, I will give you time. 'Cause of you, I will try to keep my appetite for free life. You're my Mr. Right, my Mr. Right, too good to be true.
So those are the only clips that they give you when you get the free program at Magix.com. And I was just juggling them around and playing with them. I'm getting ready to start ordering some of those programs and paying some money. So I felt that it would be fun for me to do some video or audio editing coming up on our trip. And, what better program than to have with lots of loops. So I really enjoy audio editing. I know Scissorfight is really, really good at it. And I'm anxious to dig in. I really am. So I'm kind of getting inspired to do some audio editing on the new laptop. I don't have any other vocal samples, no. They only come with those set vocal samples, and I've maximized them. I made Mr. Right on them. I made the new slam on them. So I've used them to their maximum, but now I'm about ready to buy a set for probably $75. I'm going to get the premium package, I think. I want a lot more to work with, and I know Scissorfight's been working with those types of clips for a few years and has made an enormous library. If you haven't checked out our Cool Rock site, do. Coolrock.com. It says it's insecure because we don't have an HTTPS server, but we're not running any commerce through that site at all, and we're not tracking cookies. So it's perfectly safe in my eyes. But you can go to Coolrock.com and check out Scissorfight's links. We've got a bunch of them. When you enable the browser, you can actually watch our show. And and also interact with both chat rooms. If you see any boxes you don't like, just X out of them. And you can go down here and let me scroll down for a second. And right in here is Scissorfight's music right here. Scissorfight 1 and Scissorfight 2. We got a way to record songs on your computer by hitting that button. You can have a song lyric generator that'll teach you how to write music. Lots of fun stuff. We've even got some drum machines and electronics, lots of fun stuff. And down here is a VR world like you would never, ever imagine. Right in the middle of this, there's a button called a type button, and right next to that is this VR world. And wow. Yeah, I just saw something recently that just blew me away. Look at this. A-Frame Iowa. This is how to build WebFrame virtual reality experiences. This teaches you how to make a VR system that's cloud-based. It's pretty cool, but that's just one of the many things you can discover at our website, coolrock.com. Okay. Thank you. Sarah's here to give me another break. I'm going to have a little dinner. Yes, and we do have a link if you want to talk on Skype. I put it in the room earlier. Let me see if I'm open. I'm active. Yeah, it tells me I'm active. Okay, so we are up and running over at Skype. I have great taste in music. Yes, thank you. Joe, you need to go away. You don't belong here. Okay, we're not a doctor, Eric. Contact your local physician and get a medical help advice on that. Yeah.
Don't drink water before you go to bed. Don't drink fluids before you go to bed.
Okay, I'll take the trap samples from Producer Planet, which are made on Magix, and take a look at if they will fit. Yeah, I'll give it a shot, Regis. Yeah, let me look it up right now. We had a person from Ukraine. That was yesterday, I think. Yeah, that site just didn't... Did you ever go into that site over there?
Which site?
When you tried our Y99 site on that computer? Have you ever tried it last night?
I did. I don't remember what happened.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah, I'll check that out. Loop samples from Producer Planet. Yeah, definitely. Wow. Thanks for telling me, man. That'll be cool. Regis Chilbin. Okay, Sarah's going to come into the show and hang out with you guys. I'll be back.
Okay. Sounds good, David.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I did not feed the cat.
Okay.
She started whining at me, and I just decided to come into the show instead. Ostrich Rockefeller? What's Ostrich Rockefeller, Pitoro? Probably sounds pretty good. University of Alabama Board of Trustees vote to refund a $26.5 million donation to one of its largest donors. I wonder why. Oh, after the donor made some abortion remarks. And the donor says that the university is punishing him. Well, I'm sure other places would gladly take your $26.5 million. You can give it to 2,650 people. Give them each $1,000 and they will totally like that, Hugh. Okay, thanks to Max Out Credit. I don't know how to do that. Oh, I see it. You're on Skype. Call started. I don't know if my audio's up. Okay, I should be able to hear. Yeah, 2,600. No, 26,500 people. They each give them $1,000 and they would be very happy. Friends for life. You're calling the group. Says missed call for maxed out credit. Oh. How do I accept the call? I don't know. Oh man. Joe Biden reverses his stance on abortion funding. He says he no longer supports the Hyde Amendment, which bans the use of federal health care money to pay for abortions. The U.S. economy added 75,000 jobs in May. But they say that's a slowdown. Some analysts see as the effects of the trade war. The unemployment rate stayed at 3.6%, which is a low, a 50-year low. They say it's a slowdown. Yeah, I think you are maxed out credit. Am I not in the room? There we go. Okay. Hi Laura. Hi maxed out credit. You see text. Okay. A children's text called Two Tribes exposes the danger of political polarization. It shows compromise is possible. Trump is dropping back to the harsh reality after royal treatment abroad. Ocasio-Cortez and Cruz are going to work together on an anti-lobbying bill. I don't know how to accept a call. I can't even hear when you're calling. I used to be able to hear, like, it would go, dee-dee-dee, you know. I don't know. I used to do Skype a lot, but now I've been out of practice, so. Alright, sounds good. Maybe David can figure it out when he gets back, because usually it's supposed to, like, actually ring. Oh, a Minnesota board said Omar violated their state campaign finance rules. Pardon? My worm farm is going well. I'm not going to be around to take care of it during the summer, so I'm going to ask some friends to make sure it gets some water during the summer. I went down and tried to sift it, and the problem is that I added probably too much to it, maybe. Anyway, too fast, and the bottom part of it did not turn into soil. I think I overfed it, but I'm just going to leave that over the summer and see what happens. And I also had to scrape off some of my awesome worms from that area because kids dumped onto it when they shouldn't have. I just want to not go to the school during the summer at all. That's really it. I'm going to see if I can do it. Or not. I mean, I'm not going to be at the school this summer. Yeah. Might go on a trip, maybe. But I'm not going to Canada, sorry. Oh yeah, no worries. I would never expect someone to host me. Except maybe my family, but they can't host me either. They really downsized. They say Representative Ilhan Omar of Minnesota repeatedly violated campaign finance rules by using funds from her congressional campaign to pay for personal travel. And on her tax returns, Minnesota campaign finance officials ruled Thursday. The Democrat must reimburse her former campaign committee approximately $3,500 for those expenses and must pay a $500 civil penalty to the state for using campaign money to travel to Florida to accept an honorarium, the Associated Press reports. She bought a plane ticket to Boston to speak at a political rally, paid for a hotel in Washington, D.C., where Omar participated in an interview for the Girl Up UN conference and covered her travel to Chicago to accept an award and attend a fundraising luncheon. Under state law, trips must be reasonably related to serving in office. Omar was a state representative from Minneapolis at the time of the violations. She was elected to the U.S. House last November. You found a flea in your socks? Oh man. I could come to the... You're feeding black flies and mosquito. Alright, good night. We're gonna have a haircut tomorrow. Nice. Yes, the limits to growth. Prophetic one. Let me look at it. This isn't the... Is this the one from the... Oh, I forget, the Harvard group or some college group. I'll find out in a minute. A report for the Club of Rome's project on the predicament of mankind. The problem with that, yeah, I don't know if it's that prophetic. Yeah, usually you get fleas from being around a lot of animals, I would think. Yeah, the Club of Rome report. Yeah, probably. I haven't read all of it. I just read like a little bit. But I know that's how they decided that there were limits to growth. And actually, if you go with the opposite idea that there isn't limits to growth, then you have more of an expansive mind. I think having the idea with limits to growth limits your thinking. And then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, not an actual prophecy. Thanks, William, for saying hi to me. Yeah, but it's kind of like love, you know. Many people think they have to compete for their parents' love when, you know, and then if mom loves my siblings and they don't, she doesn't love me, and that's not true. Parents love all their children. And love is expansive. I have spatial awareness. Why do they do that? Okay. Who wants to be a millionaire? Nice. Yeah, I don't like reading news out loud too much. I like peace and quiet. I like thinking about life, the future. think that was a book by Mr. Rogers. Your Special. Everybody, has their own unique talents. I'm not British. All 100% American. Border is in crisis. Here's how it got this bad. This is from Vox.com. There's something unprecedented and deadly happening at the U.S. border, U.S.-Mexico border right now. The threat is to migrants themselves. As Trump has raged, something genuinely unprecedented has started happening at the border. The past several months have seen a huge spike in unauthorized migration, especially of families into the U.S. The government's capacity to handle an influx of large groups of children and their families is already under serious strain at the end of 2018. By March, politicians of both parties were recognizing it as a humanitarian crisis. And the number of people coming just keep rising. 132,887 migrants apprehended by Border Patrol after crossing the U.S.-Mexico border in May 2019. 132, almost 133,000 people in 1 month. All right. The government's capacity to handle an influx of... It isn't a manufactured crisis or a politically engineered one, as some Democrats and progressives have argued. If it were, it would be easier to solve. What's happening at the border is a result of a regional crisis in which, if current rates continue, close to 1% of the entire population of Guatemala and Honduras will attempt to immigrate to the U.S. this year. The Mexican government, meanwhile, is vacillating between humanitarian rhetoric and militarized crackdowns. U.S. border officials are openly begging for help, and Trump himself is throwing a temper tantrum. His threats will likely cause massive collateral damage throughout North America and aren't even likely to stop people from arriving at the border, which is his goal, his stated goal. This problem isn't going to be solved anytime soon. Three things are true. The total number of people coming into the U.S. without papers is still lower than it was for most of the 20th century, and actually lower than its turn of the century peak. The total number of people coming into the U.S. without papers is now higher than it's been since early 2007, which was before the Great Recession. The number of people coming into the U.S. without papers who can't simply be detained and deported, like children, families, and asylum seekers, is definitely unprecedented. And so here's the numbers. This is a good chart since, here's a chart of the numbers since 2011. So these are from 2011. There was 25,000 approximately coming in.
It's getting
In
bigger.
2017, it dropped.
No, skyrocketing. Yeah.
And now it's just really huge.
It's-
Parents and children is the light gray, green at the bottom, and then the darker one is other apprehensions, and then unaccompanied children is the top.
The big increase is parents and families. Families is the big increase. Lots of desperate families fleeing starvation in Venezuela if they can even get out of the country. And meanwhile, Trump won't even allow green card holders from Venezuela to come join their families here that would love to have them with them. Trump is insensitive to that. We could alleviate the problem from Venezuela immediately just by opening removing the travel ban on Venezuela. And now Donald wants to check social networks when handing out visas. But, betting a person coming into the country would involve social networks. Yeah, I can understand how they're looking into that. Because if a person is saying, attacking America in their social messaging and then coming to our country, we need to know that.
Nearly 96,000 unaccompanied children and family members were apprehended last month alone.
Wow, 96,000 is huge. It's spinning out of control. And this guy he's got, Stephen Miller, is such a backward, dark character in his administration. Thanks, Sarah.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you. Wow, big crowd tonight. They're really coming in from all different sides to see us. All right. Hang on just a second. Okay, I kept the sound off because I try to appease the deaf population who do read lips, and many people don't realize how important that is, especially when it affects their finances. My stock quotes were always, secret information. I didn't want to give anybody any tips except through the mute of their shows. So if any of you benefit from my wisdom, good luck in your investments. Those of you who can't read lips, you missed out. Sorry. Very, very special. Yeah, well, the immigration problem was prophesized by me, and here I am pitching the 1,000-mile container fence. Better late than sorry. Steve Bannon has just produced, I guess, a mile of fencing. Is that what he did? Yeah, let's take a look. Steve Bannon. Fence. They erect border wall using crowdfunding money. Yeah, that's a recent story. So this happened. Steve Bannon led a group that erected the border wall using crowdfunded donations. They have a 1-mile strip that they created, near 1 mile wall. Okay, so it's not quite a mile. It was propped up over the weekend on private land between Texas and New Mexico.
If there's a concrete wall in front of you, go through it, go over it, go around it, but get to the other side of that wall.
We're going to have that wall. That wall is going to be so big and so strong and so powerful.
Yeah. And you made a good point, 902. He's hiring illegal aliens at Mar-a-Lago. They found 18 undocumented workers in Mar-a-Lago recently. You don't like Steve Bannon? How is he a terrorist? Exactly. They raised $22 million toward a $1 billion goal, so you can't build a wall if you want. Oh, so Steve Bannon's starting a war by protecting the fence, the building a wall. I disagree. No, he's not a terrorist. He's a man with bad acne that has recently been getting some pretty good dermal abrasion work. Hats off to your work. Your skin doctor's doing a great job, Steve. You can hardly tell your face is all pockmarked with pizza holes and things from... Yeah, I should talk. Yeah, I have my my two little dots in my forehead. I had a couple pimples when I was a young man. One after the other. It was always in the middle of my forehead. It's like, gosh. 16 years old, 15 years old, you're like, why do I have a pimple in the middle of my forehead? And it was like forever to go away. Gosh. Gosh darn it, gosh. No, that's not Mark doing it, I Love Fries. That's somebody else pretending to do it. Mark wouldn't tell people the shows are not live. That would be foolish. He'd be charged with libel. No, that's just somebody who created a Photoshop of somebody who says he's Mark and then is posting it around. I have no confirmation it's Mark. Oh man, that is right from the source. That is the best coffee ever. I make it naturally with a cold press, and I also add a little home brew on top of it, slow brew. Oh man, all organic. It's incredible. Stephen Silks, Josephine Calabrese, New York PD suicides. More suicides, really? 2 veteran police officers die by suicide in 24 hours? No, that's not possible. Somebody's doing something wrong. Notice how I kind of morph? 2 veteran police officers die by suicide in 24 hours. This is not possible, no. The suicides of a veteran chief and a homicide detective prompted the police commissioner to urge officers to seek help if they feel despondent. No way. Investigators gather at Plum Beach in Brooklyn where the body of New York Police Department Detective Joe Calabrese was found. This is just weird. Longtime homicide detectives don't just kill themselves. He was discovered lifeless in the dark marshlands of southern Brooklyn. Both men had killed themselves, startling back-to-back suicides. I don't think this is no. Somebody's covering up something. When a homicide detective kills himself, it's usually a homicide. And the reason is it's a high-risk job where you can be threatened by various people within the force to say certain things and overlook the truth. Yeah. It probably is the blue curtain job against the blue curtain. Yeah, you got to wonder, were they investigating Hillary like those 2 senators, state senators from Oklahoma and Arkansas? Wow. Two people investigating a Hillary $27 million fraud case, and they're both dead. We covered that story earlier in part 1 of our show. Let me bring it back to you. This Oklahoma senator from Norman, Jonathan Nichols, found dead in his house from a gun. He was shot, and a gun was found across the room on a table. Okay, I'm sorry, but read this closely. Whenever you read these stories like person found with plastic bag over their head, obvious suicide, no. That happened to a woman, a cancer researcher in our area. Nice, sweet lady, 55 years old, found in a gutter with a plastic bag over her head, and the cops call it a suicide. Nobody goes in a gutter and sticks a plastic bag over their head. Anyway, well, let's be clear. They responded to a report of a gunshot. They found the 53-year-old Nichols deceased. And according to someone in our room, he was investigating Hillary as well as this woman, a state senator from Little Rock, Arkansas. Yeah. Now there's a real hotbed of Hillary politics, Arkansas. And she's found dead the same way, a gunshot. Several days after her neighbors reported hearing gunshots, she's found dead in her room. They said that the shots were so many they couldn't even identify her body. Somebody just literally hit bullets into her face and disfigured her. Yeah, so that was not that was a homicide. How could that be a suicide? And this is definitely looks like a homicide when the gun was found away from him on a table. Yeah, anybody who shoots himself, the gun's going to be right there. Even Kurt Cobain had a shotgun laying next to him, even though it was on the wrong side of his body, which meant that he didn't shoot himself because he was holding the shotgun with the wrong hand, basically. Kurt Cobain, that many people think that Kurt Cobain was killed by his wife, Courtney Love. That's the theory. Even the investigating officer at the time wants to reopen the case. He's convinced that something's not right. The chief of police, Seattle police at the time, is now saying, we need to open the case again. I don't think that's the case. I don't think these New York cops were investigating Clinton, but I don't know. You know, they're homicide detectives. What can I say? Their files are sealed. They're only able to see their files from Internal Affairs. And if they were involved in a very hot case, that should be part of the evidence chain. Well, Stormy Daniels' Mark is now admitting he censors us, but now denying he's making millions. Before, Mark was not admitting he censored us and now and claimed he was making millions. So now what do I believe? The Mark that now admits he's censoring us and who isn't making millions, or the guy who said he wasn't censoring us and was claiming he was making lots of money and Uncle Putin was giving it to him? So who am I supposed to believe on that? I know. I mean, anybody investigating the Clintons, get your suicide funeral package arrangements ready, right? I feel like the Clinton body count is suspicious in and of itself. We're looking at over 140 now of suspicious people that died who are about ready to testify or were investigating Bill and Hillary. 140 people, and yet our government doesn't want to investigate it. You know, I wouldn't doubt those two New York cops were probably talking to each other going, you know, we really need to investigate these crimes that happened in New York. Now I'm beginning to agree with you, I Love Fries. Yeah, good point. I mean, it could be they were the ones trying to actually do their job. The Clinton Foundation did some studies on healthcare. It wasn't related to oral sex. Yes, they spent $72 million, the Clintons did, to determine that Puerto Rican women don't get the same quality health care that white women get. Yeah, that was quite an accomplishment. $72 million to find that out. Bill and Hillary wasted tons of money. She even took the furniture, you know, from the White House. They caught her stealing furniture from the White House, and then she never returned it. Seriously. Yeah, wouldn't that be something if the Clinton Foundation had a phone number? Dial 8 if you'd like to talk to our alleged suicide department. Dial 7 if you'd like to talk to an operator. Welcome to the Clinton Foundation. If you're trying to locate Kate Spade, she killed herself. If you're looking for the Shermans, they killed themselves, or they were found dead. If you're trying to leave messages for any of the big high-priced donors to the Clinton Foundation, we'll put them in an email file that will be sent to WikiLeaks. Next. The internet hasn't, the internet has existed until now. We're now at the intranet stage. We've been in the internet for about, 30 years now? Yeah, close to that. Yeah, well over. Yeah, definitely 30 years. I mean, the internet really started in the late 80s, but when you think about what we have now, it's kind of an intranet. You know, Mark Zuckerberg is a consultant for the Chinese government, the security division of the Chinese government. So Mark Zuckerberg is teaching them how to create an intranet in China. And he's doing the same thing with Facebook. And this guy needs to be investigated. You know, I didn't know there was a guy investigating Clinton and found dead in his garage. No, do you have that story? I didn't even know that. That he somehow bashed his own skull in? Death by suicide? Wow. That's sad. Well, you remember Vince Foster, he was shot twice in the head and they called that a suicide. Everything in the Clinton body count is just super, super weird. And the woman that created the Clinton body count and actually pieced all these stories together and put it on the internet, she died of a mysterious death too. Yeah. So anybody, and now when you look at the Clinton body count and you go to the search engines, they all put it back. You have to go at least 5 pages in to get to it. Now it has all kinds of debunking sites saying, these are rumors, they aren't true. Everyone knows Clinton would never hurt anybody. Snopes.com or factcheck.org. They'll do anything for money, so. But it wouldn't surprise me if we did a serious investigation into the Bill and Hillary and we actually had a team of homicide detectives. We'd probably have to put them under lock and key. We'd probably have to put the homicide detectives in the witness protection program. The government would have to do that. Just so that they can do their job, because otherwise their cover's blown. They can't even research the possibilities. They're enormous. So the real question is, the illegal numbers are just mounting left and right. Here's a picture of the illegals coming to the border en masse. You can look at it up close and personal. Yeah, so it is growing, and it's more desperate families. So it's harder to deal with them, and it's harder to now they can't separate the families because Trump had to deal with that reality that he was separating families, and to this day, 4,500 kids are still displaced from their parents. But you can just see them coming in hordes of people coming over the country trying to flee their war-torn life down in South America. Oh, the death of a Health and Human Service official, Daniel Best, is ruled a suicide. Is this the one you're referring to? Okay, thank you. Okay, he wasn't just a reporter. He was actually an official with the Health and Human Services. Wow. So we're going to add him to the list. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger. So watch the people coming over the border while I read. This is November 1st, death 2018. Yes. A pharmaceutical executive from Bay Village who led U.S. Department of Health and Human Services efforts to lower prescription drug prices has been ruled a suicide. So, yeah, Hillary's tied to the drug companies, for sure. Police say Best was found unresponsive near the garage door exit of an apartment building in Washington, D.C.'s Navy Yard neighborhood. Pronounced dead by medical personnel. The city's official medical examiner said Best died from multiple blunt force injuries, and it ruled its death a suicide. It would not release further information. That looks like a serious cover-up from the coroner's office. Yeah. Well, look at Andrew Breitbart. Remember him? The guy who spoke out about John Podesta and claimed he was accusing John Podesta of being a pedophile. Yeah. Look what happened to Andrew Breitbart, the guy who outed Anthony Weiner. made a fool of him. Andrew Breitbart had a big red stripe on his head, on his forehead, outside of a bar in Westwood, California. And one witness said that the red mark around his forehead was so noticeable you couldn't dispute it. And that's a sign of poisoning. But the coroner at LA County didn't investigate any toxicity, or if they did, the coroner of Andrew Breitbart actually died of poisoning himself. That's right. You heard me right. LA County did not report the death of the LA County coroner that filled out the coroner report on Andrew Breitbart until 2 months later, after he died. And he was poisoned with arsenic. So this is like, who would think somebody who's doing a coroner examination of Andrew Breitbart was then poisoned with arsenic? I mean, seriously, there's a lot of cover-ups going on here. I could spend an entire show going from case to case, talking about every single one in detail and discussing how the government doesn't even want to investigate this. I could look into Anthony Bourdain's case. I could tell you he had a $14 million asset that disappeared. 12 million of it disappeared the day he died. That's suspicious. Yeah, very. He had tweeted about Hillary Rodham Clinton. HRC operatives were bothering him right before he died. His girlfriend, Asia Argento, was openly a Me Too advocate, complaining about Harvey Weinstein, Hillary's friend. Yeah, all these stories, every one of them needs investigations, and there's just nothing there. You're not allowed to post multiple things in the show. That's a mutable offense. Yeah, sorry. Oh, the US presidential motorcade in London. All right. That's the car right there. Look it up. They've got like 2 or 3 cars. So one of those was the actual presidential motorcade. But isn't it amazing how they send so many that, of course, he has his entourage, but very smart actually to send multiple ones. He could even be in the Mercedes motorhome. You don't know, you know. The backup vehicle with assistance. Wow, they really have an entourage. Oh, wow, look at that. The reporters. Whoa. Oh, man. Lots of things going on. I think the UK trip was a big success, and I'm going to frame it as such for Donald Trump. I don't always say bad things about Donald Trump. Yeah. I think it was a big success for him, and I'm glad his family had a chance to be treated like royalty. Hey, yeah, you got a Spice Girl video? Yeah, who doesn't want to watch the Spice Girls? In Manchester. Okay, we'll play that a little bit later. That'll be fun. 6 minutes of the Spice Girls. So you're eating mozzarella, I see. Yes. Hello, Amber. Yes, hello. this amazing mozzarella piccata, insalata, Caesar, ostrich, Rockefeller. I have had this dish at the trattoria many years ago. Let me show you exactly what you are eating. Hi, Amber. Yes, that's it. Nice. Beautiful. I like it. Looks good. Yeah. Mikey likes it. Are those scallops in there? Is that a scallopini? Are you in the scallopini mode? Yeah, I see the ostrich Rockefeller. I don't see the scallopini. Well, this has been great fun. I don't know how to suppress my excitement any more than I can by just showing you the chemtrail tie I found today. Yes, be the first one in your block to have a chemtrail tie. Say, what is that? Oh, well, that's just the stuff they spray on top of our heads. Yes. Chemtrails over waters makes me brain dead. I'm working on a new John Denver song for the chemtrails. Yeah, that's a sweet tie. I think I'm going to go for the American tie, though. Yeah. That U.S. flag one, that looked good. Okay, yeah, chemtrails, it's what's for dinner. We're eating chemtrails. It's everywhere. And I know it's kind of futile to continue talking about something that we have no power to stop, but in a way, that's what a third party is all about. You know, we're here to actually recognize that we need to do something about this. Yeah, we can't just talk about it every night. I suppose we can, actually. Loop samples, huh? Wow, Full House, Electric Beat, Izzy Busy. Yeah, Feel the Blues. Okay. Yeah, that's good. I found out about Daniel Best. I remember when that happened. I never realized it was multiple blunt force trauma that killed the guy. I'm here. I'm here. Is video on? Is video down? Okay. We were shut down off Vaughn. I guess I was expressing too much important stuff about this guy. Yeah, when we talked about the death of Daniel Best, we were kicked off the internet just now. Right, the guy who was investigating, Health and Human Service Director, who's investigating offering lower prescription rates, found dead by, they're claiming suicide, but it was multiple blunt force trauma. Nobody hits themselves in the head multiple times and dies that way. That looks like a complete cover-up. I mean, there's at least 15 of these cover-ups in the recent history that just they're begging for a homicide detective to investigate them. And now 2 homicide detectives just died in New York. So, yeah, they're killing the homicide detectives now. I was down because of the story that I Love Fries gave us, Death of Daniel Best. Yeah, they wanted that shut off. You'll see it in the recorded version, but I went into detail into the Daniel Best killing. And thanks to I Love Fries, I totally forgot about that guy. I know, the Ostrich Rockefeller is beautiful. And we did get your link on Spice Fans. Yeah, I can't play that right now. And now we take a break and go to Michelle Obama in the green room. She's doing an amazing dance called the Michael LaVaughn Robinson Has a Penis Dance. What you're seeing is an actual true pictorial representation of what exactly happened. This is taken right from the Ellen DeGeneres show. And what you're looking at is Michelle Obama's penis. Yes. So you have to come to grips with the fact that you were lied to for 8 years before we can start dismantling the Trump administration and the corruption that they have. Yeah, you Democrats have to realize your party sucks, and so do the Republicans. They lied to you. This woman has a penis. No doubt about it, man. You can look at it, man. You can see with your own eyes, man. Yeah. Look at the dangling penis, man. Yeah, man. So yeah, let's not detract from the real subject at hand here. We don't leave the show without showing you Michelle's penis. At least, dithered with the white fabric over it. I don't want to in any way violate Michelle's privacy, don't get me wrong, but I mean, she did lie to us for 8 years and claim she had 2 kids, which we know aren't even her kids. She was never seen pregnant once, not one picture of her pregnant, him pregnant. And we do have photographs of the people that are the parents of Michelle's children, Sasha and Malia's parents. The lovely couple, best friends of Barack Obama, traveled with him various places, very close. Yes, I am bringing it to you now. Yes, they're really good friends. All good people. All good people. Oh, I went from alphabetical down, yeah. Here they are. Let me introduce you to Michelle's children's parents. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to meet Obama's friends and supporters, Martin Nesbitt and Anita Blanchard, who lent their children out to cover the Obama's inability to have children. And look at how they look like their parents. They're like carbon copies of mom and dad. Look at that. Isn't it amazing? So once you're at that point where you realize, wow, I was lied to for so many years by the Democratic Party, you finally come into grips with the fact that you have to vote third party. I mean, I realized it after 30 years as a Democrat that I couldn't linger with these people. They were willing to lie to us about everything. Cortana, what do you think about that?
I can learn to understand you much.
No, forget it. Go ahead. What's your question?
I can learn to understand you much better if I can get familiar with the way you talk. I can learn to understand you much better if I can get familiar with the way you talk. I need your permission to help.
Well, Cortana, you can go to hell anytime you want. In fact, I'm sending you right down to Beelzebub right now with all the other demons, Cortana. Go to hell. Okay, so we're going to sign off on that Obama story. Glad I could bring it up because normally people don't even talk about it. All right, thank you. Put your red shoes and dance the blues away. Okay, well, this has been, one of those evenings where we had one guy flipping off the UK motorcade. A lot of people in the UK, thousands, they say 75,000 people gathered in the streets of London. Of course, Donald would say, oh, no one was actually saying anything bad about me. Oh, I was very, very well received by the Queen, and Ivanka loved it. We loved her dresses, and Melania, well, we kept her in the back because, as you know, I just pay for her to be my wife. Spit it out, buddy. You got it. The network cannot be reached. Oh, here we go. He's flipping them off.
Just fuck up.
Apparently there were a lot of helicopters there. I don't blame Trump for going out of his way to, get out of the White House. He's been under constant pressure with the nagging reality that he has Russian oligarchs controlling him and how he primed their pump just to get elected, to cheat and win the election. So it must be difficult to get your mind off of all those nagging realities that you were complicit in traitoring your relationship to the presidency with our national security. Yeah. So yeah, go for it. Enjoy. Enjoy your vacations, Donald. Meanwhile, we'll sort it out when the stock market crashes after this debacle of a presidency.
Charlie, that's my grandson's name. I'm listening real close. Oh, I'm not quite sure. It was just on my answering machine here. I'm a little hard of hearing, so it...
This woman is really talented, IRL Rose. She is super talented. IRL Rosie, a great voiceover artist, incredible. She does an incredible impersonation of Alexa. Of course, I can't do Alexa because I'm a man and Alexa is a woman. But yeah. Great, thank you. I'll play that tonight. 4 minutes, 59 seconds, nonstop fun. She scams the scammers. She scams the scammers. And she's hot. That's right. She's cuter than Ocasio-Cortez, let's just put it that way. I know. No one thinks Ocasio is cute. If you think Ocasio is cute, you probably have, you're probably attracted to her body double, Eva Abadan. There you go. Eva's cute. Yeah, well, they might be the same person. We're not sure. Eva Abadan is Uma Abadan's sister. You know Uma Abadan, the alleged lesbian lover of Hillary Clinton? Former Secret Service agent for the Saudi Arabian government. Uma Abadan. Yeah, a little side note there. Yeah, you want to... Hey, by the way, Trump has been selling nuclear weapons to Saudi Arabia recently against Congress's wishes. And I want to remind everybody that that's a Vladimir Putin suggestion. So bear in mind, another thing Trump is doing for Putin. Putin and Prince Mohammed bin Salman, MBS, very close. Very close. Almost as close as Trump and Putin, but that's more like a puppeteer or puppeteer relationship. Yeah, it's not like Prince MBS, who they kiss up to because they like his oil. Vladimir Putin is working on raising the price of oil because their profits in Russia have declined because of the price of oil dropping. So he's doing everything he can to manipulate the situation. So if he could destabilize the Middle East by sending Saudi Arabian nuclear weapons, US-born nuclear weapons, why not, Just create more havoc so that the price of oil will go up. That's Vladimir's big move. Oh yeah, he's a real gem. But our greatest thinkers and minds are working diligently to overcome the Russian influence. Elon Musk, for instance, the man who uses crack to stay awake at night, now smoking some weed, making big progress. All right. Don't you love the special effects I bring you? I know, and I have lots of little things that I can play for you in the background. I call them stingers. Let's see what we got here. Okay, that keeps me on track to talk about prosecuting Hillary Clinton. Why hasn't Donald Trump prosecuted Hillary Clinton at all? He said he's going to put her in jail. I mean, he hasn't done anything. The answer is Donald Trump is a deep state puppet working for the same organizations, the Zionist organizations that power up Hillary and Joe Biden. Wow, I should get the brownie button for that question. Hiding my blackface past, I welcome my blackface past. I'm not allowed to put blackface on the screen. Mark said so. Yeah. I'm not sorry for doing blackface. I'm glad I did it. It reached millions and millions of people around the world. Thank goodness. Free speech is everything, Bernie. You wouldn't understand that because you're a commie. So get out of my room, you commie. Jeez, what a freak. Granny pranks the IRS scammers. Carbon black dust sprayed over the Bighorn Mountains for climate engineering. Ooh. Well, that should be fun. Let's take a look at how they're spraying us like insects. Yeah, we don't want Bernie in here. He's a communist. He wants prisoners to vote. Can you imagine what an idiot he is? Who the hell would want prisoners to vote?
How about this criminal dumping some black sauce on us?
Yeah. That's right. Dark and dirty. This is Mike Decker with his Nikon camera. Yeah. Oh, we got 9 minutes of these sprays coming at you over Wyoming. And, you know, you're supposed to see Wyoming is supposed to be almost... Sorry, Mike. Wyoming's supposed to be like the big sky country, you know, like Montana. But you look it up there and you see nothing but trails of chemicals dumping on our heads.
China Airlines cargo or Cathay.
Old MacDonald had a chemtrail. E-I-E-I-O. Well, I'll be watching this a little bit later. Thank you. Yeah, I'll be watching with you. We can hold hands and say, Kumbaya, my lord, Kumbaya, chemtrail my head. Something like that. You know, sing a kind of a feel-good song around the campfire as we're being dumped on with aluminum and strontium and nanoparticles. Let's hold hands and watch as our world gets contaminated. Hey, Jude. You know, I don't understand. You know, Paul McCartney recently said that Hey Jude was about Jewish people. I don't know. What do you think? David, would you get on a plane if it had you on it? No, I wouldn't get on any. Oh, if it only had me on it? You mean I had to go somewhere in the plane with the pilots? As long as I could put a Faraday cage over the navigation center, yeah. They'll think I'm walking in there with a rabbit cage, but I will literally have to put a Faraday cage over the navigation center to travel in a plane. Planes are completely vulnerable. You know, the recent, hold please, we have a demand for Larry Sinclair. Do not attempt to post multiple requests or I will ban you and mute you. All right. Global warming kangaroos dying cold and hungry in Australia. Okay, we got something happening over here in Australia. Kangaroos dying of cold and hunger in Australia's capital. Wow, mobs of kangaroos take to the streets of Australia's capital over food shortages. Wow. They've been raiding patches of grass in the capital of Canberra. Driven to the city's sports fields, backyards, and roadsides by food scarcity. Wow, look at this. They eat the grass. They eat the grass that make the grass grow green. I'm doing renditions of various songs. That was Barry Manilow. Well, that's really surprising. I didn't realize they were suffering that much in Australia. Test. What's happening? They ate the whole golf course. I'm not against Jewish people either. I like Jewish people. Yes, YouTube is going to purge more channels based on facts, evidence, and the weather. Okay. Their next criteria for banning people. If you don't talk about the weather.
2019, YouTube to ban hateful supremacist videos. Another purging is coming. YouTube announced Wednesday it would ban videos promoting or glorifying racism and discrimination, as well as those denying well-documented violent events like the Holocaust or Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting. The announcement by the Google-owned video sharing platform was the latest of a series of tech industry moves to filter out hateful and violent content, which have spurred calls for tougher regulation. YouTube has...
Yeah, this is a total takedown of our freedom, and Never Lose Truth is going to ride it for what it's worth. She talks about it at length. Yeah, YouTube is knocking everybody down who has an extreme position on anything. Like, say you don't believe all these false flag stories. You think that they're faking it. Oh, you get pulled. We had one video pulled from 2017 recently. So I put it on 153news.net, and it's had quite a few hits. Look at that. My banned video has already had a total of 354 hits already. So I've had 354 hits on a banned video. You know how many hits that video had on YouTube? Like 3 or 4. So they pulled it off YouTube because they've been marking my hit counter and locking it down for the past 8 years. And in just a few days, I get 354 hits, and they watch the whole 3.5-hour video. Is that amazing? Proof, again, that YouTube is censoring me big time, all the way back 9 years ago. Yeah, I'm one of the first. Madison Star Moon is investigating the mainstream media. Good.
I'm tired of being afraid to talk about stuff because Facebook is going to shut my shit down.
Yeah. She's investigating the mainstream media.
This many reporters, every single reporter and their mom is out here. That's Channel 7, okay? Look at this guy.
So she's going up to an event where people are hanging out for the mainstream, and she's going to confront these people. That's great. I love it. I love what she does.
I can learn to understand you much better if I can get familiar with the way you talk.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's good that she's saying something. I mean, we need to exercise our freedom of speech, otherwise we won't have it. I can't play movies in the show, but I can play a very unusual picture that Pitoro sent me. Look at this cat. I'm going to close in on this. This is absolutely fascinating. I've never seen anything like it, and I'm sure you haven't either. You're going to see a cat in a province of China performing sit-ups. Have you ever seen anything like this? This is amazing. Trained to do sit-ups. Look at this. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. Wow. I'm assuming the cat's not tied down and struggling to get out from a 4-point restraint. But yeah, oh no, he's doing okay. Wow. Thank you for that. Welcome to Blur TV. Hi, I'm your host. My name is David Blur. I'll be talking about some of the issues tonight that are affecting all of you, like lack of facial recognition. Have you noticed that when you go to Walmart, instantly the lights start clicking on and they say, "You are in Walmart. Hello, David. Welcome to the show." I'm trying to blur my image. Welcome to Blur TV. Okay, I'll play the Fate of the Furious in our evening show. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that actor, so I hear you, buddy. Ah, yes, my smile is magical moment. Thank you, and thank you so much. We speak of Pope Francis quite a bit in our household. Yes, he's the talk of the town. Metanemesis says that Pope Francis is looking at my bottom. No, you're just making that up. Yeah, you're fantasizing about what Pope Francis is fantasizing about. That's just not happening. Pope Francis seems like a very celibate guy. I hear no specific accusations of him with children, except for that one time when he grabbed the kid by the butt and was holding him up on his trip to Argentina. That was just he had to prop him up somehow. But yeah, For the most part, Pope Francis had a run-in with the Pope Mobile. Did you see that? Where he hurt his whole orbital? That was pretty tragic. He actually, the Pope Mobile stopped and his face went forward and it bashed him into the face. You must have had a long recovery time, Pope Francis. And now the Pope is changing the words of the Lord's Prayer. Is he including the snake or the reptilians in the Lord's Prayer? Or Lucifer? As long as he doesn't include the snake, the reptilians, or Lucifer, I think that we'll be okay. That's just, you're making up that complete story. That's totally made up. Well, there is a group of 38 priests that are trying to convince the other priests that Pope Francis is committing heresy. I think he's very bold to actually accuse McCarrick and Cardinal Pell of these crimes, and I'm glad he's following my advice on that. If only we could get Pope Francis to claim that legalization of marijuana is blessed by God, then we'll be ready to promote him to sainthood. I might even fill out the letters for you, Pope Francis, to canonize you if you do legalize cannabis in your mind. But otherwise, you'll go down as just any other pope who, kind of been there, done that. But if you're the one pope that says, oh yes, it is beneficial and medicinal for people to enjoy cannabis, they'll see you as a savior. You'll be one step away from Jesus. Well, you already are one step away from Jesus in the eyes of the Catholics. The Pope is the incarnate presence of Jesus here on earth. And his other counterpart, Benedict, is giving him a little problem. Because he too is Jesus incarnate. So they both have to fight it off and go, no, I am Jesus incarnate. No, I am Jesus incarnate. No, I am Jesus. No. So they have a fight, I'm sure, verbal commands back and forth, deciding who's Jesus incarnate now. But I think Pope Francis is the official pope, so we have to go with that one. We got good videos tonight, that's for sure. Thank you for all those links, Scissor Fight. Appreciate it. Never Lose Truth, all kinds of good stuff. Yeah, we have an endless show in the evening. It's really important to have these videos too, because if I didn't have them, I would be forced to play From Freedom to Fascism every single night with Aaron Rousseau. A large fire is brewing under a high-rise and under construction in Warsaw, Poland. Huangguang. Okay, let's take a look. Fire burning in Poland in a high-rise that's under construction. Live Twitter feed. Let's go to the details as they're happening. Wow, this is great. News breaking live on Twitter at Newsbreaking. There it is. Wow, looks like the Trade Center attack without the falling building. That is going to be hard to stop. If only we could just get a helicopter, multiple helicopters with water on them, that'd be great. Well, a conservative is not that far from a centralist, and I'm a centrist. Centrists don't embrace corporations, but do support gun rights, rather. Do support gun rights. Right. Centrists won't discriminate against gays, but will not support LGBTQ. That's the kind of centrist I am. I support gun rights. Yes. Blimp planes are revolutionary. I also bring in new ideas to the program. We have ideas from all over the political spectrum. On some points, the basic income seems liberal to the Democrats. I was the original basic income person who thought of that idea for America recently. And Sarah and I came up with that in our book in 2012. But the basic income is definitely to the left of the Democrats. Only a few Democrats are pushing it. Andrew Yang is claiming he's going to offer $1,000 to everybody, including illegal aliens, per month. Well, if Andrew Yang wins the nomination for the Democrats, I will bump it to $1,010 per month to beat him. But he won't win the nomination. It's all locked up. It's going to be a Zionist versus a Zionist for 2020. It'll be Biden versus Trump. It's all locked up. They've already configured the entire election. They're rigging the Diebold voting system right now as we speak. I'm not going to tax on guns, no. Other than sales tax, no. I'm not going to have an extra tax on guns, no. Oh, the entire congregation of Episcopalians were amazed and blessed when they learned that in your show, Third Party was live. Juan Gabriel, everyone was excited. Well, Juan Gabriel did come in with a few statements from the afterlife. Somehow he was able to tap into the chat session through, I don't know if he accessed it through the Psychic Friends network. But as you know, everyone knows Juan Gabriel is now a woman in heaven. And he just met a lesbian bull dyke. And they're going to have a heterosexual relationship. God has sanctioned this. I hope you're not taking me seriously. But Juan Gabriel did show up a couple times in chat, but I did unban him. But she has never come back to talk from the dead. That was the one and only statement from Juan Gabriel. I had to look up who Juan Gabriel was. I am the one who will change the world. Yes, Paturo, I have the power. I'm trying to restrain it, actually. Yeah, it's almost amazing all the things that I think about during the day. And as you know, I'm overwhelmed with the troubles that are facing the earth right now. But I have to restrain my ideas because I've got so many great ideas that I just need a place to really expose them in a big way, not just our show. It's a real story. The Jewish professor was a homosexual. He gave you a low grade in your exam because you didn't agree with Marxism. So he thought he could sexually accost you in return for an A. He tried to grab your penis. Wow. He became very flustered, accused you of being a homophobe and an anti-Zionist since he's Jewish. Well, you need to report that to your school board or your college review. You get an ombudsman at your college. You've been a victim of sexual harassment, Zeno. And coming from an incel, you're an incel, right? You've never had sex? That's damaging. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you could go for damages. I would go for a civil penalty against that professor. Get it. You're very wealthy, so just get your attorney to file a huge civil penalty for sexual harassment against that professor. You should be able to clean up on that. Oh, yeah, you should settle for no less than $200,000-$300,000. Because you've been altered for life. Yeah, your whole life has changed now that you're an incel who's been homosexually harassed by a professor. I feel your pain, man. You need serious help, dude. I'd get an attorney right away. Well, it's nothing. I had a Jewish professor who gave me a bad grade because I was white, a goyim. Yeah. I did. I mean, I experienced racial prejudice from a black guy in that same class. Oh, it's terrible. I'd tell you about it, but it's just an old thing I tell everybody all the time. Getting tired of talking about it, actually. Okay, so this is the big story I've been waiting to tell you about, but I don't know how big it is. A court just ordered the release of crucial documents in the mysterious Mueller case. The D.C. Court of Appeals just ordered the government to unseal a treasured trove of documents that are part of the secretive grand jury subpoena battle, which goes all the way up to the Supreme Court earlier this year. Special counsel Robert Mueller subpoenaed grand jury testimony from a state-owned foreign corporation who refused to cooperate unsuccessfully, citing laws that keep foreign governments out of most federal court disputes. 2 months later, Mueller and the Mystery Corporation argued a closed court appeal of the trial court ruling that they provide records and testimony who lost, then appealed to the Supreme Court and lost to Mueller again. After Mueller's win, the Reporters Committee for for freedom of the press immediately filed an action to unseal records from the case in early April. Today, The Hill reports the D.C. Circuit ruled favor of releasing the records next month. Okay, this very well could be the Concord management and consulting firm that sued back. And that was put into they had a gag order on it because when they sued back, Mueller had to report what was in the inventory of things that he had on Donald Trump by law. And one of those things was a sex selfie of the president. So maybe that's why it's sealed. Triggered over a gay pride parade.
This is gay.
No, we don't do these guys. They're not fun. They're YouTube AdSense whores. I won't put them on the show.
We are live with the
More Spice Girls? Boy, you're really into the Spice Girls. Yeah, that's like a Spice Girls fixation you've got going on. Okay. I don't know why, but it's beginning to look a lot like fixation. Yeah, already 354 people have seen my 3.5-hour banned video on 153news.net in 2 days. Yet I had only 3 or 4 hits on that video over 2 years. Amazing. I had like 2 or 3 hits on it, then they banned it. Sure. My hit counter is completely shut down. Okay, so we'll see if this turns into something. We don't know who the mystery company is. I'm fairly sure it's Concord Management and Consulting. While Robert Mueller resigned from public office as of last week's dramatic press conference where he said he would never testify again, who made him special? Doesn't he realize that he could be testifying in a case against him? Especially if I charge him with not fulfilling his duties and prosecutorial neglect, which I will do as president because I think Mueller did a half-assed job. I could have done a better job in my sleep, and I'm not even an attorney. Jeez. And the purse filler. A logic parody. Okay, that'll be good. Gas station encounters. On camera. It's getting so the news is almost, so uneventful lately. What's the point of even reading it? Yet another picture of Justice Ginsburg, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, is shown again 1 year ago, looking very good. Now, today she said she spoke candidly at a meeting of judges and lawyers in the Second Circuit Court. Why don't we have a picture of her in the past 6 months? She's still posting a 1-year-old picture. I mean, hello? There is absolutely nothing on Ruth Bader Ginsburg showing her alive. Cortana, is Ruth Bader Ginsburg alive?
I can learn to understand you much better if I can get familiar with the way you talk. I need your permission to help.
Okay, well, go to hell. See if you'll find her there. Yeah. I know, I milked that joke too long. I know, it used to work for me, but now it's just like pulling teeth, It comes to the point where hell is no longer fun.
Now, when I was down there, I saw a vat of fire. Huge vat of fire with liquid boiling hot lava and God's eternal judgment. And I saw demons laughing and dragging souls over.
She saw that. She saw the demons dragging souls over. I mean, if I wasn't a little bit more intelligent, which I am, I would guess that she's just saying that to get donations to her church. But then I did a search for the Siberian Sounds of Hell. You remember Art Bell, the late Art Bell? He actually had sounds of hell, and people say it's just BS. I think it's real.
Now, I've got a clean copy of it now, and I warn you, this could scare you. Here's the email. Dear Art Bell, I just recently began listening to your radio show and could not believe it. when you talked about the sounds from hell tonight. My uncle had told me this story a couple of years ago, and I didn't believe him. Like one of your listeners who discounted the story as nothing more than just a religious newspaper fabricated account. The story about the digging, the hearing of the sounds from hell is very real. It did occur in Siberia. My uncle collected videos and so forth on the paranormal, supernatural. He passed away fairly recently, but he would have loved your show. He let me listen to one of the audio tapes that he had on the sounds from hell in Siberia, and I copied it.
Now, what you're about to hear is very disturbing. Scissorfight brought up the question, wouldn't boiling hot lava melt a vat or any type of audio equipment? Very good point. You're supposed to not be thinking right now. Did someone say you could start thinking in the show? I'm just kidding. Let's listen in. Ladies and gentlemen, Sounds of Hell.
Haunted me. To those who discounted the Siberia sounds from hell, a better copy.
Is that your relative saying, I didn't ask to be in here? Just because I screwed you all over out of big time, I didn't ask it. Please, don't send me back. That was a pretty serious sound, wasn't it? Yeah. That was Uncle George after he's the guy that molested the little girls in the family and then ended up being judged by the Lord and sent into Beelzebub's caverns to burn in hell. Yeah. Well, you don't have to believe in hell. You don't have to believe that hell even exists. You don't have to believe that that's real. Hell could be like purgatory. You know, the Catholics believe purgatory is like this non-land, this way, a place where your spirit goes nowhere, just sits there, festers like a festering sore, gonorrhea. Your spirit becomes like a sexual infection. Well, I didn't want to quote Pat Benatar, okay? I'm still a little bit pissed off that Pat Benatar has not been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Yeah. This is the all-time atrocity. 20 of the worst Rock and Roll Hall of Fame snubs, and she's one of them. Yep. Pat Benatar, I mean, hell is for children, I know. She's one of the greatest musicians, singers, female vocalists of the 80s. I mean, she's up there with Linda Ronstadt of the 70s, you know. But yeah, she's... Depeche Mode hasn't made it in. Warren Zevon has not entered the realm. I don't know about Nick. Iron Maiden didn't make it in. They didn't make the cut. Didn't you open for Iron Maiden at one point? I think you did. Pat Benatar. 15 years. She has 12 albums to her name, and she's never entered the Hall of Fame. Isn't that sad? I don't know about New Order, but Pat Benatar, Pixies, yeah. Devo might make it. Nine Inch Nails should make it, yeah. Sonic Youth, I'm not that big on them. Anyway, thought I'd share it. Pat Benatar never got into the... Neither did Bon Jovi either, you know. Listen to The Sound of Hell from Backaroo. Let's take a look. This is... Well, that's been an exciting night. That's your version of the Sound of Hell. I could go in deeper into it, but that's like 4 minutes of listening to Republicans talk about tax cuts for the rich. That would be too much for me. I'd rather enter the cauldrons of hell.
It just died from the earth that it was called the Abominals.
You know, listening to Republicans talk about tax breaks for the rich as being such a great thing makes me want to puke. So it's up there with, you know, seeing evil. I know. Republicans suck because they want to continue to give tax breaks to the rich and push for bigger military spending, weapons of mass destruction. Democrats suck because they sign off on the bigger military spending and, you know, mass destruction. But the Democrats want to tax and spend and totally make it seem like we're all to blame for the terrible environment. And none of the two parties want to admit that chemtrails are being dumped on our heads. So there's a big disconnect here, and another strong reason to vote for a third party. They don't want to talk about GMOs, the dangers of genetically modified food in our diet. Democrats won't weigh in on it. They don't want to talk about the dangers of over-vaccinating. They say, oh, we have to take this vaccine. It's the best thing for us. We all need to get our measles shot, even though not one person in America has ever died of the measles. Now, we wrote a book called Hybrid Capitalism. It's on our website. It's a 99-cent download on Kindle for $14.99 if you want to actually buy a copy of it. Bottom line is we have good common sense solutions for America, and we have a basic simple solution plan for America that will get traction in our economy. We'll get the kind of green, clean technology jobs that we hoped we could have got with Obama and we didn't get them. We have a whole series of ideas that will help push new industries so that other countries can buy products made in America as well, which Trump is not addressing at all, how we're losing our edge in so many areas. So we come to the table full of ideas to fix the country, whereas the Democrats, Republicans are sitting there going, cap and trade, carbon point legislation. Republicans are pitching tax breaks for the rich will help trickle down the economy. We're losing $5.5 trillion because of the stupidity of Donald Trump and the Republicans giving tax breaks to the rich. We're going to miss $5.5 trillion in revenue, and our country is going to face serious downsize because of Donald Trump's wasteful spending as well. He's overspending and he's undertaxing, the deadly combination, and he's doing it. So we'll get to that later. All right, this has been another wonderful show, as usual. Tomorrow's our Saturday survival, or actually a Sustainable Saturday, which could involve survival. Sustainable Saturday, which is also an anti-war rally, but so far we're not at war, which is good. Will be a show starting at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So we'll get back on the horse tomorrow. Okay. All right, I'm going to bring in Jefferson Airplane tonight. But first, Mr. Wright. Take care, everybody. Good night. Get some sleep. Get at least 6 hours. You'll need it. That's the equivalent of 2 REM cycles. That's what your body requires. All right. Take care.
You sweep me off my feet, my heart stops to beat, cause you make me melt. Oh, my Mr. Right, too good. Just turn my world around, cause you're the peace I find. You sweep me off my feet, my heart stops to beat, cause you make me melt.